This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-hosts. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the 53rd episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. I want to welcome you back for a very special bear episode. Today I have 4 stories for you from 3 different tribes, and because I love them all so much, I couldn't pick one to eliminate. So pull up a chair, pour a cup of coffee, or maybe grab a bear claw, and join me for some great stories today. Now, among the native people, bears have a variety of different associations depending on the tribe. Bears embody physical power and inner resilience. Tribes like the Lakota and the Cree view them as protectors and warrior spirits. Bears are also associated with healing rituals. The white bear Katsina, known as Honan in the Hopi tradition, is a powerful spirit figure representing strength, healing, and protection. Now, among the Hopi, the bear Katsina, they come in various colors: white, black, blue, and yellow, and each of them have their own ceremonial role, but they are all revered as great warriors and great healers. The bear's hibernation symbolizes introspection and renewal, and some tribes use bear fat or parts of the bear in different traditional remedies. The bear's solitary nature and seasonal hibernation reflect deep self-awareness and spiritual reflection. Many tribes consider bears to be guardian spirits. The Cherokee and Navajo, for example, see them as guides through life's changes. The wonderful thing about Mother Bear is that she is gentle and nurturing to her young, but she's also fiercely protective against any outsider that would threaten them. It's a good role model for us, for we should protect those within our circle and treat them with great compassion and nurture them. And if we can find more ways to expand our inner circle to be compassionate and nurturing to more people, we can create a wonderful world for us all to live in. To me, this is the bear medicine, a role model of nurturing those close to us. Now, in our 4 stories today, you'll be blessed or cursed, depending on your point of view, with me singing a little bit in 3 of them. Whew. So if you need to pour a little something into your coffee, now would be the time to do it. Our first story is a sweet story about a mother bear's love. It's a Cherokee legend called the Mother Bear Song. A hunter in the woods one day heard singing in a cave. He came near and peeped in, and it was a mother bear singing to her cubs and telling them what to do when the hunters came after them. Said the mother to her bear cubs, "When you hear the hunters coming down the creek, upstream, upstream you must go. Upstream, upstream you must go. But if you hear them coming up the creek, children, then downstream, downstream you must go. Downstream, downstream you must go." Another hunter, out in the woods one day, thought he heard a woman singing to a baby. He followed the sound up to the head of the branch until he came to a cave under the bushes, and inside was a mother bear rocking her cub in her paws and singing to them this baby song, which he used to know when he was a child, back before the people turned into bears. Let me carry you on my back. Let me carry you on my back. Let me carry you on my back. Let me carry you on my back on the sunny side. Go to sleep, go to sleep on the sunny side. Go to sleep, go to sleep. No matter the species, there's nothing like a mother's love. It was kind that the hunters didn't interfere with this loving family in the cave. And our next story is another Cherokee legend about a hunter who came to see things from a bear's perspective. A man went hunting in the mountains and came across a black bear, which he wounded with an arrow. The bear turned and started to run in the other way, and the hunter followed, shooting one arrow after another into it without bringing it down. Now this was a medicine bear, and could talk or read the thoughts of people without their saying a word. At last he stopped and pulled the arrows out of his side and gave them to the man, saying, "It is of no use for you to shoot at me, for you cannot kill me. Come to my house and let us live together." The hunter thought to himself, "He may kill me." But the bear read his thoughts and said, "No, I won't hurt you." The man thought again, "How can I get anything to eat?" But the bear knew his thoughts and said, "There shall be plenty." So the hunter went with the bear. They went on together until they came to a hole in the side of the mountain, and the bear said, "This is not where I live, but there is going to be a council here, and we will come and see what they do." They went in, and the hole widened as they went, until they came to a large cave like a townhouse. It was full of bears, old bears, young bears, and cubs, white bears, black bears, and brown bears, and a large white bear was the chief. They sat down in a corner, but soon the bears scented the hunter and began to ask, "What is it that smells bad?" The chief said, "Don't talk so. It is only a stranger come to see us. Let him alone." Food was getting scarce in the mountains, and the council was to decide what to do about it. They had sent out messengers all over, and while they were talking, 2 bears came in and reported that they had found a country in the low grounds where there were so many chestnuts and acorns that mast was knee-deep. Then they were all pleased and got ready for a dance, and the dance leader was the one the Indians call Longhams, a great black bear that is always lean. After the dance, the bears noticed the hunter's bow and arrows, and one said, "This is what men use to kill us. Let us see if we can manage them, and maybe we can fight man with his own weapons." So they took the bow and arrows from the hunter to try them. They fitted the arrows and drew back the string, but when they let it go, it caught in their long claws and the arrows dropped to the ground. They said that they could not use the bow and arrows and gave them back to the man. When the dance and the council were over, they began to go home, excepting the white bear chief who lived there. And at last the hunter and the bear went out together. They went on until they came to another hole in the side of the mountain, when the bear said, "This is where I live," and they went in. By this time the hunter was very hungry and was wondering how he could get something to eat. The other knew his thoughts, and sitting up on his hind legs, he rubbed his stomach with his forepaws, and at once he had both paws full of chestnuts and gave them to the man. He rubbed his stomach again so, and had his paws full of huckleberries, and gave them to the man. He rubbed again so, and gave the man both paws full of blackberries. He rubbed again so, and had his paws full of acorns. But the man said that he could not eat them all, and that he had enough already. The hunter lived in the cave with the bear all winter, until long hair like that of a bear began to grow all over his body, and he began to act like a bear. But he still walked like a man. One day in early spring, the bear said to him, "Your people down in the settlement are getting ready for a grand hunt in the mountains, and they will come to this cave and kill me and take these clothes from me." He meant his skin. "But they will not hurt you, and will take you home with them." The bear knew what the people were doing down in the settlement, just as he always knew what the man was thinking about. Some days passed, and the bear said again, "This is the day when the top-knots will come to kill me. But the split noses will come first and find us. When they have killed me, they will drag me outside the cave and take off my clothes and cut me to pieces. You must cover the blood with leaves, and when they are taking you away, look back after you have gone a pace, and you will see something." Soon they heard the hunters coming up the mountains, and then the dogs found the cave and began to bark. The hunters came and, looking inside, saw the bear and killed him with their arrows. Then they dragged him outside the cave and skinned the body and cut it in quarters to carry home. The dogs kept on barking until the hunters thought there must be another bear in the cave. They looked in again and saw the man away at the far end. At first they thought it was another bear on account of his long hair, but they soon saw it was the hunter who had been lost the year before, so they went in and brought him out. Then each hunter took a load of the bear meat and they started home again, bringing the man and the skin with them. Before they left, the man piled leaves over the spot where they had cut up the bear, and when they had gone a little ways, he looked back behind and saw the bear rise up out of the leaves, shake himself, and go back into the woods. When they came near the settlement, the man told the hunters that he must be shut up where no one could see him, without anything to eat or drink for 7 days and nights, until the bear nature had left him and he became like a man again. So they shut him up alone in a house and tried to keep very still about it. But the news got out and his wife heard of it. She came for her husband, but the people would not let her near him. But she came every day and begged so hard that at last, after 4 or 5 days, they let her have him. She took him home with her, but in a short time he died because he still had a bear's nature and could not live like a man. If they had kept him shut up in the fastening until the end of the 7 days, he would have become a man again, and he would have lived. Once we begin to see things from someone else's point of view, it can be hard to go back. That emphasizes the importance of compassion and deep understanding of the ways of those around us, no matter who they are. We may not always see things the same, but the awareness that we all harbor our own struggles and deserve to find our best path to happiness is a key for us to receiving the blessings intended for us, all of us. Our third story today comes from the Tiwa tribe, one of the Pueblo people of the American Southwest. They've traditionally lived in New Mexico and are known for their beautiful oral traditions, stories that blend wit, wisdom, and a touch of mischief to pass on values like courage, humility, and cleverness. This is their story, How to Scare a Bear. Long ago and far away, this did not happen. On top of Red Rock Hill lived a little rabbit. Prickly pears were his favorite food, and every day he would hunt for them along the east bank of the Rio Grande. Eventually he ate all the prickly pears on that bank, so he cast his hungry eyes across the river. He said to himself, "I'll bet plenty of them grow over there. Now, how am I going to get across the river to look?" The rabbit knew that the river was too deep and too wide for him to swim on his own, and he sighed, "Oh, how I wish that Uncle Fastwater, who moves the current, were here to take me across." Fastwater heard and replied, "Child, I'm lying right here. What can I do for you?" The little rabbit leaped towards the sound. "Uncle, so this is where you live?" "Yes, this is the place," said his uncle. "What kind of work do you want from me?" "I want to cross the river to pick prickly pears, but the water is too deep and too wide for me. Will you help me to get across?" Fastwater agreed, so the little rabbit sat on top of his head. Splash, splash, splash went the water, and quickly the two were on the other side. "Be sure and call me when you want to come back," Fastwater said when they landed. The rabbit wanted to get home before night fell, so he wasted no time but went right to picking and eating prickly pears. Then Brother Bear appeared. "Little Rabbit?" "Yes, Brother Bear?" "My, what a pretty necklace you have." "Yes, isn't it?" "I want to make a bet with you for that necklace," said Brother Bear. "I'm willing to bet my red necklace for yours. If I win, you'll give me yours, and if you win, I'll give you mine." The little rabbit agreed, and they arranged to meet at noon the next day in the same spot. That afternoon, the little rabbit returned to the river, and his uncle easily carried him back across the water. "Tomorrow you must wait for me, Uncle. I have placed a bet with Brother Bear, and I'll need you to carry me across the river again." "I'll wait for you," replied his uncle. "I know you'll win." The next day, the little rabbit got up early and hurried to meet Brother Bear. Because of his early start, he arrived first and decided to stroll in the woods. He was hopping around when he spotted an old horse bell that still had a dried-up piece of leather tied to it. He hung it around his neck, and with each jump the bell went clank, clank. The little rabbit said to himself, "I think this bell will come in very handy with Brother Bear," and he hid the bell carefully in the woods. When noon came, Brother Bear appeared. "You're here early," he said. "Yes," answered the little rabbit, but he said nothing more. The two picked a place in the dense wooded area to have their contest. Then Brother Bear made a circle on the ground with a stick. "Little Rabbit, you can go first," said Brother Bear. "Oh no," said the little rabbit. "You wanted to bet. You should go first." "Yes, I'll go first. I'll bet you I'm the braver of us. See that circle? You sit in it, and if you move even a little from where you're sitting, I win." Little Rabbit sat down, and Big Brother Bear took off for the woods. A few minutes later, the rabbit heard strange sounds. "Ah, ah, ah, tweet, 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 ah, 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 tweet, tweet, tweet." "I know that's Brother Bear," thought the little rabbit. "He is trying to scare me, but I won't move." Closer and closer came the strange sounds. Suddenly, with a crash, a great big tree came tumbling down and barely missed the little rabbit. You moved, I saw you move," shouted Brother Bear. "No, I didn't move. Come and see for yourself," answered the rabbit. Brother Bear couldn't find any footmarks and had to agree that the little rabbit had not moved at all. Little Rabbit said to Brother Bear, "Now, you sit in this circle as I did in yours." The rabbit drew a circle, and Brother Bear sat in it. Leaving Brother Bear sitting in the circle, the rabbit headed into the woods. He just put the old horse bell around his neck and headed toward the place where Brother Bear was waiting. After he had hopped a few steps, the little rabbit stopped, rang the horse bell, and sang, "Ha na na na, ah na na na, is che ne, cha na na ne, cool ha ya. Where are you sitting, my bear friend?" When the Brother Bear heard this, he thought, "That's not my friend Little Rabbit. This is something else altogether." Coming closer to the circle where Brother Bear was sitting, the little rabbit rang his horse bell louder and sang his song once more. Brother Bear, growing really frightened, stood up and ran. The little bear jumped out and called, "You've lost! Let me have your necklace." As the story goes, the little rabbit defeated the Brother Bear, and today, if you see a rabbit around Tewa County, and if he has a red ring around his neck, you can be sure that the rabbit is descended from the little rabbit who won Brother Bear's pretty red necklace. I almost sang the verse of the song again, but I thought, the rabbit was trying to scare the bear. I'm not trying to scare you. Rabbit was very clever, so poor bear lost his necklace. It teaches us that awareness can help us realize that there's nothing to fear. All things can be known if we listen to the deep silence and are aware of them. Rabbit was aware of the bear, but the bear was not aware of the rabbit. Awareness brings inner calm. For our final story today, we end with a love story from the Haida people. The Haida people are an indigenous nation of the Pacific Northwest coast, renowned for their artistry, their seafaring skills, and deep spiritual connection to nature. They traditionally inhabit Haida Kauai, maybe, something like that. It was formerly the Queen Charlotte Islands off of the coast of British Columbia, Canada, and also parts of southern Alaska. This is their story of the bear and his wife. Quis an Quidas and Kinda Wuss were a youth and maiden in my native village. She, the daughter of one of our chiefs, he, the son of one of the common people. Since both were about the same age and had been playmates from youth, their fondness in later years ripened into a love so strong that they seemed to live for each other. But while they loved each other, they knew they could never live as husband and wife because both were of one crest, the raven. By the social laws of their people, a mother gives her name and crest to her children, whether raven, eagle, frog, beaver, or bear. A man is at liberty to take a wife from any other crest except the one to which he himself belongs. While the youth and maiden continued to love each other, time passed unnoticed. Life to them seemed a pleasing dream, from which they were awakened when both sets of parents reminded them that the time had come for each of them to marry someone else. Seeing that these warnings passed unheeded, their parents resolved to separate them. The lovers were confined in their homes, but they contrived to slip away and meet outside of the village. They escaped to the woods and resolved to live on the meanest fare in the mountain forest rather than return to be separated. In a lonely glen under a shady spruce by a mountain stream, they built a hut, to which they always returned at night. While wandering in search of food, they were careful lest they should meet any of their relations. Thus they lived until the lengthening nights and stormy days reminded them of winter. Quis Aquidas resolved to revisit his home and to make the journey alone. Kinda Wuss preferred to remain in the solitude of the forest rather than face her angry relations. He promised, however, to return before nightfall of the fourth day. When he reached home, his parents welcomed him and asked about Kinda Wuss and her whereabouts since they departed. He told them all, and when they heard how they lived and how she had become his wife, their wrath was great. They told him that he would never go back, and they decided to keep him prisoner until she also returned. When Quis an Quidas could not get away, he urged his people to let him go and get Kinda Wuss, for she would never return alone. They were unmoved by his appeal. After a considerable time, he managed to escape. He hastened to the mountain home, hoping to meet Kinda Wuss, yet fearing that something might be wrong. When he arrived at the place where they had parted, he found by the footprints on the soft earth that she had started to return to their hut. Drawing near it, he listened but heard no sound and saw no trace of her. When he went inside, he was horror-stricken to find that she had not been there since he left. Where was she? Had she lost her way? Hoping to find some clue, he searched the hut, looked up and down the stream, went through the timber up to the mountains, calling her by name as he went. Kinda Wuss, Kinda Wuss, where are you? Kinda Wuss, come to me. I'm your Quis an Quidas. Do you hear me, Kinda Wuss? To these appeals, the mountain echoes answered, Kinda Wuss, Kinda Wuss, Kinda Wuss. After searching for days, feeling sorrowful and angry, he returned homeward, grieving for the dear one whom he had lost, and angry with his parents, whom he blamed for his misfortune. Once there, he told the villagers of his trouble and claimed their assistance. Many responded, among them the two fathers, one anxious for his daughter's safety, the other disturbed because he had detained his son. Early on the morning of the third day after Quissaquitas arrived, he led a party out for a final search to try and find her, dead or alive. But after 10 days, during which they discovered nothing except a place where traces of a struggle were visible, they abandoned the effort. As weeks gave place to months, and months to years, Kindawus seemed to have been forgotten. She was seldom mentioned, or was referred to only as the girl who was lost and never found. Yet her lover never forgot. He believed her still alive and did all in his power to find her. Having failed so often, he thought he would visit a medicine man, or Skaga, who was clairvoyant. The Skaga asked Quissaquitas if he had anything that the maiden had worn. He gave a part of her clothing to the Skaga, who took it in his hand and said, "I see a young woman lying on the ground. She seems to be asleep. It is Kindawus. There is something in the bushes coming towards her. It is a large bear." He takes hold of her. She tries to get away but cannot. He takes her with him, a long way off. I see a lake. They reach it and stop at a large cedar tree. She lives in the tree with the bear. I see 2 children, boys, that she has had by the bear. If you go to the lake and find the tree, you will discover them all there. Quissaquitas lost no time in getting together a second party led by the Skaga, who soon found the lake and then the tree. There they halted to consider what it was that would be best to do. It was agreed that Quissaquitas should call her by name before venturing up a sort of stepladder which leaned against the tree. After he called her several times, she looked out and said, "Where do you come from, and who are you?" "I am Quissaquitas," he said. "I have sought long years for you. Now that I have found you, I mean to take you home. Will you go?" "I cannot go with you until my husband, the chief of bears, returns." After a little conversation, she consented to come down among them, and when they had her in their power, they hastily carried her off home. Her parents were glad to have their lost child, and Quissaquitas was overjoyed to recover his loved one. Although she was at home and kindly welcomed, she was worried for her 2 sons and wished to return to them. This her friends would not allow, though they offered to go and fetch them. She replied that the father would not let them go, but, said she, there is a way you might get them. She explained that the bear had made a song for her, and if they would go to the tree and sing it, the bear chief would give them whatever they wished. After learning the song, a party went to the tree and began to sing. As soon as the bear heard the song, he came down, thinking that Kindawus had returned. When he saw that she was not there, he was upset and refused to let the children go. When the party threatened to take them by force, however, he agreed to send them to their mother. Kindawus told the following story of how she had fallen into the power of the bear. After she had parted from Quissaquitas and turned back towards the hut, she had not gone far before she felt tired and sick at heart for her lover. Deciding to rest a little, she lay down in a dry, shady place and fell asleep. There the bear found her, took her and carried her to his home near the lake. As the entrance to his house was high above the ground, he had a sort of stepladder whereby he could get easily up and down. He sent some of his tribe to gather soft moss to make her a bed. She used to wonder why no one came to look for her, and when the bear saw her downhearted, he would do all in his power to cheer her up. As the years passed and none of her relations nor her lover came near her, she began to feel at home in the bear's treehouse. By the time the search party arrived, she had given up all hope of being found. The bear tried to make her comfortable and please her. He composed a song which to this day is known among the children of the Haidas as the Song of the Bears. I have heard it sung many times. In 1888, an old acquaintance gave me the words. I have taken a fair maiden from her hide of friends as my wife. I hope her relatives won't come and carry her away from me. I will be kind to her, I will give her berries from the hill and roots from the ground. I will do all I can to please her. For her I made this song, and for her I sing it. This is the song of the bears, and whoever can sing it has their lasting friendship. Many people learned it from Kinda Wuss, who never went again to live with the bear. Out of consideration for her, as well as for the hardships that the lovers had suffered, they were allowed to live as man and wife. As for the two sons, they showed different dispositions as they grew up. One stayed with his mother's people, while the other returned to his father and lived and died among the bears. The son who stayed with his mother married a girl belonging to his parental tribe, reared a family from whom many of his people claimed to be descendants. The direct descendant of him is a pretty girl, the offspring of a Haida mother and a Kanaku father, who inherits all the family belongings, the savings of many generations. The small brook which flowed by the mountain home of Quisinquitas and Kinda Wuss grew to be a large stream, up which large quantities of salmon run in season. That stream is in the family to this day, and out of it they catch their food. If only their parents had agreed to their relationship in the beginning, Kinda Wuss would not have had to go through that ordeal. The bear tried to make her happy, but you can't force someone to love you, so it's wonderful that she was able to return to her love and to her people. In all of today's stories, all of the songs I sang, I only had the words and no melody to work with, so if you know the song, forgive me for creating a melody all my own. It is with respect and gratitude that I offer you my blessings and thanks for sharing your journey with me and sharing your time with me on this podcast. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. If you enjoyed the podcast, it would be wonderful if you could like and review us so others can find the podcast and our family can grow. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. Our first story, A Mother Bear's Song, and our second story, The Bear Man, both come to us from the amazing website yanative.com, ya-native.com. A Mother's Song comes from a book titled Myths of the Cherokee, told by James Mooney in 1900. yanative.com is a great website. So many stories, so much wonderful information, and some really, really great merchandise. You should definitely check it out. Our third story, How to Scare a Bear, comes from the site legendsofnativeamerica.com, which also has a lot of wonderful stories. And our final story, The Bear and His Indian Wife, comes from the now defunct pyramidmesa.com and is based on Yakwahu's story, recorded in 1873 and published by James Deans in 1880s. For more great stories, I hope you'll join us next week here on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I'll talk to you next time. Our podcast image of the moon was provided by my great friend Mark Lawton, and Scott Brocklesby provided the wonderful song you are listening to right now. We will see you next time. All right, that's it. How do we do, Dawa? Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.